With a second wildcard chip now being available to FPL managers, you might be looking to get ahead of the pack and using it already. Well, I've got a draft for you. I'm going to start off by talking about the goalkeeper and defenders. And I know David Raya might be a controversial pick, right? But I do feel Arsenal are going to turn their form around and start keeping clean sheets again. I think of all the teams in the league, there are 3 or 4 that I would say are outstanding defensively. And I'd say Arsenal are one of those teams, right? David Raya comes in cheaper than both Ederson and Alisson. I would class him, if he's starting regularly for Arsenal, which he is, as a premium keeper. Yeah, I just think he's probably the best you can go for. Pedro Porro, Gabriel and Trent Alexander-Arnold in defence. Porro, I think he offers a little bit more attacking threat than Udogie, the other Tottenham defender. I've got Udogie on the bench, but I don't think you can justify starting both of them against Man United in Game Week 21. So yeah, I've gone for Udogie on the bench just because I think Porro has more attacking upside. But obviously, it makes sense in my opinion to go for the both of them. Gabriel, 4.9 million, the cheapest, I'd say, regularly starting Arsenal defender. Doesn't quite offer the starting security of Saliba. However, I think with the form, well, I say the form he's been in, Arsenal have been quite poor, so he could be prone to rotation. If you're a little bit worried about that, there is enough cash in the bank with this team to upgrade to Saliba, and then Trent and Gusto as my other 2 defenders. Gusto, I think, is the best budget defender. Obviously, Chelsea not ripping things up defensively, but he is playing right back for them, getting forwards, and I'd say comparing him to the likes of, Branthwaite and Charlie Taylor, he's probably a better option, right? I'll talk about Trent in a second. Now, he might be all the way up to 8.5 million now, but I still think Trent Alexander-Arnold is a fantastic option in FPL. I wouldn't even think of him as a defender. You know, he is a player, rather than think of him as a defender, he's a player that can get returns through 3 sort of different means. He can obviously get goals, assists, and clean sheets. And if you count all of them together, as you can see at the bottom, he's got 13 returns in 17 starts so far this season. And if you were thinking of that as, I don't know, an 8.5 million striker or an 8.5 million midfielder, they'd probably be in your team straight away. So maybe that's a different sort of mindset to adopt when looking to pick Trent. But yeah, I just think he's a fantastic option. Liverpool have definitely improved defensively on previous seasons. They've just played Newcastle and, of course, conceded a couple of goals. But yeah, I just think they're better defensively. And you can expect some more clean sheets, right? 7 clean sheets from 17 starts when Trent's been in the team. And yeah, some of the fixtures you could argue are a little bit tough. Chelsea and Arsenal mixed in there, but I wouldn't rule out a clean sheet against Chelsea. Arsenal is probably a tough one, but he seems to pop up with the odd goal in these tough games, so I wouldn't be worried about him facing them either. I just think, certainly with no Salah or Son around, you've got to spend the extra and go for Trent. On to the midfield then, and these are my personal, 4 or 5 picks that I've gone for. I'll show a list next of all the options I think are pickable in the midfield, and it might help you. If you don't agree with all of these, you can pick some of the players on the list. But I've personally gone for Jarrod Bowen, Bukayo Saka, Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, and Garnacho. I think Garnacho is a really nice swap, basically, to allow 3 up front. As you can see, there are 3 strikers below there. Garnacho allows you to swap someone like Cameron Archer out by Garnacho, and then you can get Haaland back in up front. I mean, there's no secret that Haaland's in this draft. He's on the thumbnail. But I think Jarrod Bowen, nailed for 90 minutes. I think he's personally my favourite player, one of my favourite players in the game so far this season. Saka, all the same sort of upsides as Bowen, plus he takes the odd penalty for Arsenal. Cole Palmer, same benefits, nailed, 90 minutes penalties, ticks all the boxes. And Phil Foden, not quite as nailed or for 90 minutes, but he is popping up with goals and assists for City at the moment. And I would say that City seem to have found their title-winning form again. So it makes sense, in my opinion, to go for those 5. So here's a list of, I've narrowed it down to 10 picks that I would say are decent for a wildcard draft in your midfield. Pick your lot from these, basically. I think all of these players are genuinely pickable, and I'd also probably add Diogo Jota to the list as well. I'm not going to put his stats in because, basically, he's not started enough games this season to really show off any stats, but I do think he's probably going to play on the right for Liverpool, so imagine Diogo Jota on that list as well. But yeah, Cole Palmer, I've already got him. Elise, he's fantastic in my opinion for Palace. Nailed to start, 90 minutes, super cheap. When you look at his underlying numbers, they're competitive with all of the premium, ish midfielders you can see towards the bottom. I really like Richarlison as well. He's going to be starting at number 9 for Spurs. Maddison could be back in the team soon as well. He's another option to consider. I haven't included him on this list because we don't know if he's fit, but Richarlison and Maddison linking up could mean goals for Richarlison. Got Garnacho in my team. I like the 2 Forest. They're basically playing up front at the moment, Elanga and Gibbs-White, but I really like them in their recent form. And Saka, Odegaard, Foden and Bowen, I don't really need to speak much about them. I'd say I don't have him in my team, but Odegaard, if you ignore the current Arsenal form, I think he's going to be a safe and good option for the rest of the season too. So yeah, if you don't agree with the midfielders that I've picked in my draft, take a look at these and there might be some new ones to add. So I've got 3 strikers up front. Erling Haaland makes the draft. I'm assuming that he's going to be fit for Game Week 21. I've got a good feeling that he will be. If he isn't, if he's confirmed out, I don't think it's going to be long before he gets back. So you could quite easily just slip Julian Alvarez in there as a placeholder and then transfer in Erling Haaland later on. Watkins and Solanke is the other 2 strikers. I don't think these 2 need much introduction. 2 of the best other strikers in the game bar Erling Haaland. And I think the strongest formation at the moment in FPL is a 3-4-3 with these 3 up front. And just to summarise then, so a lot of these players you're seeing, you might not be able to buy them for quite the same price that I can. Some of them will be more expensive, some of them might be even cheaper. But the way I've built this team in Draft Town is I've left well over $1 million in the bank. So pretty much anyone watching this video, even if you don't own any of these, 15 players, you should be able to buy all of them on your wildcard, regardless of where that puts you in a cash in the bank position. So yeah, I've put a question mark on money in the bank, but this team should be affordable for everyone watching this video. It's got 59.9 expected points in Game Week 21. That's, of course, Erling Haaland's got only 3.6 because he's an injury doubt for the Newcastle game. If he is confirmed fit, I'd expect that to go up. I mean, if you look at Foden, he's on 6.7. You'd imagine Erling Haaland's in and around 8 or 9 expected points. So you can work out for yourself what that means for the team. And I think going forward, at least for the next month or 2, with Salah and Son off to their respective international tournaments, this team will do you really nicely. All right, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave me a like rating, subscribe to the Golden Goal channel, which should be just here, and let me know in the comments what you think of that draft. You know, if there are any players or picks you disagree with, I'd be interested to hear it. And I'll catch you in my next video.